morning, Social Cam. It is Tuesday. Campus Ministry Night, yay. But I was coming to you all because I wanted to share my boom that I got yesterday. And basically a little backstory on this is that I currently work for an IT consulting firm. And so I was working in the office up until about a year ago when a client asked for me specifically for the specific role that they had for their organization. And I kind of knew the manager a little bit, so he's like, oh no, just have her start. So that's testimony in itself that I didn't have to interview for the position. It was a 20% increase in salary. That was just total God move. So back in June, they contacted me, my contract house did, and was the manager and the owner, and they told me that they wanted to go a different direction for this contract. They wanted to have someone with more experience because the director, which is who hired me in, at the particular organization I'm contracted out at, he wanted someone else in this role because the needs of the role had changed. Totally understandable. I was like, okay. So they're like, we're going to start sending your resume out to other places and see what we can find for you. And that was back in June. So in June, the director decided apparently budget got cut or whatever, so I'm still here. Obviously, it's like September, almost mid-September. And they told me probably about a week ago they wanted to meet with me because they had found out that my contract here was going to be up at the end of September. Like September the 30th would be my last day. So I went in and I talked to the owner and the manager of the company probably about 2 weeks ago. And they were saying, well, you know, we've sent your resume places. What would you like to do? Because here at JDM, this is our motto. And we want our consultants to be focused solely on JDM. So we know some of the extracurricular things that you are doing outside of here. And we can understand that. But here, we expect JDM to be your first priority, your top priority. And it's not a 9 to 5. So we might require more of you. And I was just like, okay. And they're telling me that the only thing they had for me was to come back into the office and be a recruiter, which is what I started out with probably about 2 years ago. So I kind of felt like it was a step backwards, but you pray about all things, and the Lord just wasn't leading me to do that. So while I was sitting there in this conference room with the manager and the owner of the company, I had to tell him exactly what the Lord was telling him. Just like, you know, I'm sorry. I would need time to think about this decision because I do enjoy what I do outside of here. This is my workplace. This is a workplace that you guys have given me great opportunities here, but I would need time to think about that. They're like, oh, okay, well, we'll give you a week. And so I was supposed to call them last Friday and let them know my decision on employment and if I would remain with their company as a recruiter. And I prayed about it because I was like, okay, Lord, well, if I'm not going to be recruiting, I'm not contracted out here, where am I going to be working? I know you're my source, not the job, but is there another opportunity somewhere that you're going to open up? Okay, so I really didn't have a choice. I just called them and I was like, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to decline the recruiting role because it's not what I feel is best for me at this time. And I feel if I came back to your organization, I would not be able to do what you're asking and put that as my top priority. So they were like, oh, we completely understand that, and we don't want you to do anything you're not happy with. I was kind of shocked by it. And they were like, well, if there's anything we can do to help you out during this time and help you find something that is more maybe what you're looking for, just let us know what we can do for you. So I was just kind of shocked by that. So what happened was yesterday I'm out here at the organization that I'm contracted out at. So in my mind, I got 2 weeks left on this job. And I was just like, okay, I don't know what the Lord's going to do, but you're going to do something, Jesus, right? All right. So I'm just going to do my best every day that I go in here and continue to do what I'm supposed to do. So my coworker happened to ask me, she's like, hey, Tina, you want to get some lunch? And I was like, sure. You know, me and food, if y'all don't know, probably never turn it down. If I do, y'all might want to be like, you okay? But anyway, so she asked me if you want to go to lunch. I said, sure, let's go. So I told her, well, let me stop off at the restroom and I'll meet y'all back and then we'll go. So she was already headed that way, and when I came out of the restroom, me and her caught up to each other, and then the director of my job where I'm at, he happened to be walking down the same little corridor, and he's like, oh, Tina, he made a comment about the colors in my hair or something like that, and then he was like, well, hey, I hear you're leaving us, and I was like, well, yeah, I heard you wanted me to leave. He's like, where did you hear that? And I was like, well, that's what my contract house told me, that you wanted me to leave because you want to bring in someone else. He's like, no, I never said that. I'm like, oh my God, what did you just say? So he's saying he didn't tell my contract house that he wants me to leave this position, but that he wants to bring in someone else, a PM with more experience, but it would not eliminate my role. So I don't know exactly where they got I was leaving unless they had some other moves in their minds. I was just like, really? He's like, well, no, come see me, and me and you will talk. And I was like, okay, when you come back from lunch. So when I got back from lunch, I went in there and sat down and was talking to him, and he told me that even though he wanted to bring in this PM or whatever, it wouldn't eliminate my role, and that he just got a notification from my contract house telling him that my last day would be in 2 weeks. And so that's why he was asking me, was I not happy in the position? And I was like, no, that's not the case. I was under the impression you no longer needed me here, that there was no longer a role for me here. So he's like, no, that's not what I was thinking, and that somewhere our wires got crossed. He was like, well, let me call your contract house and talk to management and everyone there. So I'm just like, oh my goodness, okay. So then he's like, well, what do you like about your role here? Is there anything you would like to change? And I was just like, well, there's certain aspects of it that I don't think are improving our processes here that I think we should change. And he's like, well, obviously, we have a number of issues going on, a lot of issues with our process here, and I think your ideas towards that would be awesome. So I also asked him, I was like, well, can we give me a more clearly defined role here? He was like, well, how about you come up with the certain aspects of your job that you like and other things you would like to explore while you're here, and that'll be your role. And I'll call your contract house and let them know that, no, you're staying here, you're not leaving. I was like, oh, okay, so you're basically just created a position that you're telling me that I'll get to write down my responsibilities and roles and duties and just kind of come up with things. Okay, thank you, Jesus. So I'll be there now. He's called the contract house, and so if the client calls your contract house and say, I still want this consultant here, they have to meet the demands of the client. So whatever they were doing, I'll still be there. I was like, look how Jesus just, all right, Lord, all right. So I wanted to share that with you all and let you know that if you have not experienced your boom is imminent. It is around the corner any day now, any moment now, and just be encouraged and look for God to move. Thank you all. See you soon. Bye.